This is a recording from April the 16th, 2025. I was on my way to the Novo Mesto city to pick up a legal letter. I read right now, it's already April 17, 2025, 034 in the morning. For the first time I read this. Oddelek za preiskovanje in pregon uradnih oseb z posebnimi pooblastili, Trg of 13,000 Ljubljana. Well, I did not open this stuff yet. I am going to open this stuff on two cameras. I will do this today, therefore, on April 17, 2025, sometimes in the afternoon, whenever I'm gonna get up. I had a long day, a little sleep, but this audio is related. So this is a legal letter that I received. From what I recall, this is a totally different letter than what the letter is addressed. It's actually the letter. It really surprised me here. It says here, oddelek za preiskovanje in pregon uradnih oseb z posebnimi pooblastili. Psychiatrist Peter Kapsch stated me for this letter, which when I had to pick it up from postal office in Novo Mesto, that once I open this envelope, at first this envelope is going to look like, wow, you know, that you received the help. But he didn't say this to me. The way they do this stuff during MK Ultra is they indirectly communicate with one another in front of the victim. This is a gang way, basically, a technique, a torture technique, basically, that can not only be done under MK Ultra through subconscious, but also in real time. It was done to me. Let's say at South Florida Treatment Evaluation Center, where I used to be employed, worked. They did the same thing. They harassed in exactly the same way. Kapsch interacted with, I don't know, with some neighbor or uncle, I don't know who the person was. He was interacted in front of me and was given one instructions that, so, and this is the letter and so on. Police always was present. They always had the investigators present. Investigators from Novo Mesto police station ran this thing. Police officers from Novo Mesto police station and the police officers from Steyerska region with Božičnik to become a police officer who was coming to Novo Mesto to dress himself as a police officer, sit inside of the car as a kid, received training before even becoming a police officer. This is the way it was with the police officer Pevec, for example, were only used by Novo Mesto police investigators whenever those gave them certain specific assignments, such as opening of the items, future items I will receive from China, or harassment, bullying, other sorts of torture techniques that also, all kinds of death threats, torture techniques I already described on the blog. Brainwash, all kinds of brainwash. It's important to understand that this procedure was ran strictly by Novo Mesto police, enforced by Novo. Everything went through Novo Mesto police investigators who received specific instructions for whatever needed to be done by Milan Kučan, by Robert Golob, by Janez Janša, by Lojze Peterle and others. I regretfully have to say this. You know, I regretfully, and you're gonna hear me talking also on this audio, because this is audio as I turn on this recorder just before I head to the office right across the bridge on Ragovo. Once I made it through that bridge, I turned the recorder on somewhere before the Glauni Turk in Novo Mesto city. Regretfully so, I have to say that when it came to my case, there was absolutely no difference between either of the two parties, whether that be for Kuchan, Golob, etc., etc., Janez Janša, Peterle. Eventually, I had to act during MK Ultra as mentally ill to survive. This is the degree of violence it was. It was all about the survival. The MK Ultra ended this way because the people who ran this procedure didn't want me anywhere in the picture, and they were, I'm not going to say without realizing, searching for mental illness in me during MK Ultra, but due to a lot of crime they did, due to bad karma, if you like to say this way. They counted on that at one point in time, some way, somehow, the mental illness will take over. They were pretty sure that mental health at one point in time eventually will fail. And it wasn't about that they would only anticipate something like this would happen. There was no neutrality in this thing. This thing was strictly, as far as myself, I'm just a mirror of these people. I'm just a mirror. I am not taking any decisions. I have not taken any initiatives during MK Ultra to retaliate against Illuminatis, wealthy people, because wealthy people were the people who supposedly would help me. They were, you see, they were supposedly the people that were on my side and so on. So I never had any kind of retaliation intentions against these people and so on. I never had any of that stuff. But when it comes to Slovenian politicians such as Milan Kuchan, yes, of course I did. Not against Lojze Peterle, Janez Janša or others, but you know, Borut Pahor, that company, that was just a really bad people. That was just really bad people. This is when after whom I went. They would not let go. Something that they started at my age, 3 months, literally, Slovenia started. You're going to hear me talking about who did, how it did, and so on. The thing is that Slovenia became an independent country in 91. And unfortunately so, that the people that should have been opposition to Milan Kuchan should have been trialed. First of all, there was a bunch of this, they call them here communists in Slovenia. I see them as pro-Serbian fraction, just as I described on the blog. I don't see them as you know, I would not give them any kind of qualities or any kind of general personality, social orientation, anything like this, because it's our people out there that are decent people, and would think that I am just hateful toward the communism, toward communists and so on. This isn't the case. We are talking about here about the ethnic cleansing, and you know, if it would have been only about the communism, we would not have here ethnic cleansing, which was the main character of my case, right? So regretfully, I have to say that when it came to this mental illness issues, in which Lojze Peterle, Janez Janša, Dmitry Rupel, Jelko Kacin, and everybody inside of the Slovenian parliament have seen themselves in, this is what is the most, this is what decides about absolutely everything. You know, this is a detrimental thing. This is basically based on what I judge. You know, once you start to see me as mentally ill, it's not based on fact, but it's based on schizophrenia. Schizophrenia is something that you want, maybe you see it because maybe, just so maybe, not always, but maybe it's because you want to see something in a certain way. That's also, I'm going to say, schizophrenia. And unfortunately, because these people complicated this thing so much, in 2012 they labeled me as paranoid schizophrenic, institutionalized me after 38 years of MK Ultra bestiality, lynching, torture. Unfortunately, I have to see this case from the side of Slovenian assistance, help. I have to see Slovenia nation and state as a schizophrenics. I have to see it that way because they were not interested in facts. They were not interested in what was in front of them. When somebody is drugged up, tortured, if this doesn't tell you anything, we don't have much, to discuss about anything. That I will tell you. Any reasonable judge person out there, individual, doesn't have to be judge, will tell you, if you don't see the person drugged up, tormented, tortured, gang tortured, super gang tortured globally, but you do see wherever, you do see him as mentally ill, because I remember Robert Golob, he would run, and he was not the only one. There was Dmitry Rupel, let's say. There was Janez Janša. There was Lojze Peterle that would run with the telephone video recordings and would demonstrate one another that my mental health is fading along the way during MK Ultra. Robert Golob would just run to my mom, to my parents, to my sister, and would demonstrate in these videos, demonstrating them, explaining them that I'm mentally ill. My niece, Urška Golob-Weber. That was enough to disseminate these lies forward, and so this torture could go on and on and on and on and on. Convincing my parents, pulling my parents down in the grave, literally like that. If you don't understand what torture is, with the difference between the torture and between the person that is sober, that is not tortured, that is not drugged up, but this is not my problem. I'm just stressing out the facts here. And so if you are interested more than in facts, further, to see in person that you torture, if you're interested in seeing whatever is of your interest more than what you actually see, then I'm going to say to you that you are a terrible, terrible schizophrenic. You're an extremely mentally ill person. In fact, you are a psychopath, a maniac, a serial killer, I will say to you. If you don't see in a tortured person for what it is, and you see it your way, like Robert Golob, Milan Kuchan, Borut Pahor, Tanya Fajon did this stuff inside of this house, together with neighbor Metod Yerman, with Novo Mesto police investigators, this is your problem. But you do have a problem. And so, yes, I did sometimes add a little bit weakness as I displayed, deliberately, pretend myself stupid. So I needed to do so to stay alive. These people used electroshocks, they used stuff to clear brain, and the information that was stored inside of my head through interrogation procedures was severely at risk, at very, very high risk. You know, so just I wanted to first explain this stuff, because the letter that I have in my hands, once I open one, as I stated, psychiatrist Peter Kopp stated, well, it's going to be different once he opened one. That's what he instigated in. You're going to hear me saying, because I'm going to be talking to myself, I will be describing along the way during this visit to postal office where I retrieved this letter. Number is KT13472025SB2 is the number. ID 728/2025. Vsebina: sklep o zavrženju ovadbe. Once you're gonna see this, once you're gonna hear me talking about stuff that went on, it looks like, actually it looks here, based on what I see here, it looks to me that Department for Investigations and Prosecution of officials with the special authorizations have, if I translate this letter, have rejected my complaint. Okay. Once you're going to hear me talking to myself as I go to the city to pick up this letter, it's going to be all kinds of incidents that took place. It ended with maniac trying to hit me with a car based on MK Ultra scenario. I do not want to use the word scare me because this was insane. The individual eventually, you will have to watch the video in respect to this reference. This is just the audio of stopover at a local postal office. The individual eventually told me that on his way back after he caused the incident, where he was, well, he came very close to me with completely inappropriate speed. He speeded next to me on the side of the road that he shouldn't be on. He shouldn't be on the side of the road. He shouldn't be on that side of the road. Once he did that by almost hitting me, he was returning back from the direction of the Krka village, Graben, toward my direction as I was returning back from postal office. If I recall MK Ultra properly, this man told me he will squeeze the pedal to the metal for as fast the car will carry him. And it was measured during MK Ultra that speed he would reach with his car would be about a range between 110 to 120 kilometers an hour in a zone of just 50 kilometers an hour. So that is fucking insane. And then at the same time he would squeeze the siren, basically how you say that inside of the car, that you have this is it siren? I'm sorry, right now it doesn't come to me. On the steering wheel you have the, I don't know how I say that, doesn't even come to me right now. That is fucking stuff that went on today at the postal office. And you're gonna hear many other incidents. You're gonna hear me talking about the Skoda cars. 2 Skoda cars were involved. One Skoda car, from what I recall, was even involved from 2006. That was a white Skoda that was parked in front of the postal office. However, it was not the original Skoda I am talking about. I think it was the father-in-law, or it was his father, therefore the man I described as a Serbian imitator of the Serbian from Psychiatric Hospital Ljubljana Polje who was playing with this. He was the one who met me in 2006 at Glavni Trg. He had fallen in love at the time. This one is Slovenian, he's from Novo mesto, but he was used by psychiatrists to imitate the one in Ljubljana, who is actually a Serb and was involved in MK Ultra since from forever. We had this kind of stuff. The guys from Belgrade, he works at Psychiatric Hospital Ljubljana Polje, and he was one of the technicians at the department where they locked me it's called Open Department at the Psychiatric Hospital in Ljubljana, Poland. After I underwent on 2 occasions severe torture at closed department, then they would transfer you to Open Department. And this was one of the people who was involved before he even became a technician at employed by Psychiatric Hospital Ljubljana, Poland. You understand what I'm talking about even here. This is a total lunacy, total zoo. And this man from Novo, mesto, who I have seen today, went right in front of me to his car, sold that car. It was his, I don't know. He got married that time. I know 2006, 2008, he got married, whatever. And it was something about that car. It was a really good car, the Skoda Octavia it was, I think. And he wanted to have that car for himself after the father-in-law would no longer use one, or his father or whatever, he would purchase that from his father. And because he wanted to help me out, this Slovenian guy. A young man, but not so young though. Younger than myself. Well, he ended up selling that car. Because he told me this. He informed me about that. You're going to hear me that this is the car from his father-in-law or father. No, it's not. He sold that car and he bought himself a new car. And that happened sometimes, I think, in 2000 and I don't know. Maybe 2012 or something like that. 2010, 2012. I don't know what it was. Yeah, 2010, 2012. It could be even 2014. I do not even remember the car. I didn't even look the car. But I remember it was about that stuff. So between 2010 2014, something like this it must be. But this is okay because he already provided information that his father or his father-in-law had a Skoda Octavia before he bought himself practically identical car, you know. So, you know, that kind of stuff is very important. There is a license plate you're going to hear, and that's fine with me. Why am I giving you? It's going to be all kinds of incidents. It's going to be incident about thyroid oils. It was a girl from Ragovo that also parents involved in. They were using this trapeze. It's like trapeze, like you jump on it. And this trapeze is surrounded with a like, it's not a fence, you know. It's, let's say, just fence so the children, when they're jumping on this trapeze, they would not fly out, whatever. And I hope I'm using the proper explanation here for this thing. Trapeze. Let me just make sure, double sure that this is what it is. So they told me, if you will this is actually trapeze, yeah. They call this trapeze. It's like elastic, not really trapeze. This is elastic surface that children can jump on, jump, you know, elastic. And this girl was just laying down and was around that stuff. And they told me, because I have posted the video today, I expressed the regret I'm gonna have, contrary to the threats they gave me, on how they're gonna hijack me, this case not be over, etc., me being jailed and so on. Now, I actually expressed as the only regrets I'm gonna have in this life is not to meet this Illuminatis again, because I would love nothing more than to break them teeth and more. They were using beautiful females, all kinds of stuff, not to seduce me, ladies and gentlemen. The females were beautiful, and I really wanted to keep the females around me. I like the females. Females also had feelings for me. The thing about it is that I'm not going to jeopardize. It's like a financial investment, you know. I will not allow to capital my life money that is owed in this matter to be jeopardized by some females and stuff like that. That's why I suggested not even the females that were involved in it. I don't want to fucking see you. If I see you, you're going to be harmed. This time it's different. And if I had proofs about that stuff earlier on, I would have acted this way already. But the thing is that I had none. And I literally had to even act insane during MK Ultra to survive this shit. This is how bad this stuff was. Stuff for which British royals, such as Charles didn't want to see that stuff, not Andrew. It was so violent stuff that I would even ask them at times, just tell me what the fuck you want me to do or act or whatever, and we're gonna do that. That's how bad this stuff was. They didn't want that. They wanted to see real pain, real terror on my face, suffering. You know, it's indescribable violence that was committed against me by this Eastern European scum. You will hear me describing all kinds of incidents on other occasion. For the incident with this trapeze, with whatever you call that stuff, that the children are using, or even adults, to jump on that stuff, I was told, well, since I mentioned that video that I posted today, in respect to also about this legal letter where I warn even the ladies, don't even think about approaching me during MK Ultra. I got a court invitation letter based on MK Ultra crime. Just take on me and I will show you what I wasn't allowed during 48 years of hijacking. He is titled this. The point about this is that I wanted to explain people that this MK Ultra case is completely finished, and in terms of who is deciding about one, because Illuminatis play with this stuff and they anticipated all kinds of other scenarios and so on. I already explained that this case should have been already recognized, the last, for sure, by Illuminatis alone. They admitted in 2018, when I even got physical proofs, the audio evidence. This case should have been finished, terminated, completed, yet they did not do that stuff. They decided to postpone, claiming me that it can't be done yet, citing me Putin, etc., that Trump didn't want, Putin didn't want, that kind of stuff. Von der Leyen wouldn't even want to listen, war Ukraine is coming and so on, that kind of stuff. They did have, and they do have under control till you drop dead, if you allow them any kind of control. But the moment that you take in your hands your destiny, like I did today, when I death threatened them, and I also death threatened with expressing willingness to hurt myself, I don't give a fuck about, you know, if you're gonna continue with this stuff, just one more millimeter forward, it's either like this or either like that, but it's not going to be your way. In other words, you can kill me, but you are not going to be deciding about me. Once you cause harm sufficient, you already know you don't have anything to look here for. And that's what matters here. I got a little bit lost, carried away now, talking about what I was explaining in this video. Mentioned in one, Princess Bairikiti Aba from Thailand, Bairikiti Aba and her sister Siri Vanavari. I know I'm not pronouncing this good, and the thing is, I like it the way I pronounce this. So they liked it also the way I pronounced, so I feel comfortable about that. This is what this trapeze was. This is what they told me. These princesses told me, we will like to help you, etc., etc., but our hands will be tied. And this girl was sitting in the trapeze and was reading a booklet, whatever. Let me see this stuff, what is actually called this stuff. And was surrounded with this fence, you know. And this is what they interpreted me during MKUltra. They were very, very illustrative. This MKUltra is all about abuse. This isn't about manipulation, it's about abuse. Everything is based on abuse. Abuse and manipulation are very similar anyhow. They call this stuff with trampoline. It's called a trampoline. Trampoline, whatever. Trampoline. And there was this girl with mom in front of the house, that kind of trampoline, yeah, trampoline. And this is how they were illustrated at Ragovo was this. Ragovo was maybe the most involved village in the Novo Mesto city because it's the village between our village here, Krka, and between the city. So if you want to go through the forest, through the nature, avoiding the traffic, you would have to go through that village. That was truly, truly the most involved village of too much violence. In one, this is truly was a home of Milan Kucan. This was truly, truly Milan Kucan, his private home. I mean, Robert Golob, Milan Kucan, Borut Pahor, Kamala Harris. This is the area I am talking about. And you're going to hear the word Palchik. You're going to have to watch the video because I go over all these incidents, including what I reported already. Some people that were involved in this, I asked them about it, was a hit attempt to hit me. Very bad stuff. Very, very weird, you know, if somebody would be explaining to you this kind of stuff, you say this crazy, that crazy. Not really. People completely understand what is MKUltra. This is the point. Everybody understands what MKUltra is about, even children. Small children, age 3, 4, learned about what MKUltra is. They used even the children with age 3, 4 to start to learn about what MKUltra is. Even this stuff went on. They were using children to fool me, to confuse me, once they would, through the violence, get me into trauma. They would use the children to intimidate and stuff like that. Talking about 4 or 5 years old kids. This is the MKUltra case. It's not an Alice in Wonderland, as some girls were explaining this, illustrated with booklets, driving insane. This is just MKUltra. This is MKUltra is. You know, women were laughing about it, and you are fucking insane, sick, really. Where you as a female, you're laughing to the stuff like that. There was females that would be laughing about that stuff, like comparing this to Alice in Wonderland. I don't care if you are laughing. That's cool because I prefer laughing. I like when people laugh. I like when people positive and stuff. I don't like when people were not gonna say negative, but I have a man here in the village. His name is Velikonia, is his last name, Velikonia, and his son all the time acted like he has a nervous breakdown, like he is mentally ill. Basically, he imitated a mental illness in himself. I couldn't stand that kind of stuff. The worst thing that you can do to somebody during MKUltra is by acting in front of one as mentally ill. Yeah? If you want to know what is the worst thing that you can do when it comes to MKUltra to a person, this was the worst thing that could have been done. Robert Golob was good at that kind of stuff, right? So, Very important for me to use this example. We had another example. These are actually two examples already that I used. We had another example that I mentioned. I mentioned maybe 20, 30 examples. I don't know how many I mentioned. You're going to see it's all in English, you know. This is very, very important stuff. Why is it so important? Because psychiatrist Peter Kapsch counted on the judge. He counted on the judge that would invite him to the hearing, where the judge, this was already arranged, this trial, ladies and gentlemen, they already had trial during MK Ultra. They would deliver me to the trial, and they trial themselves on a trial in a Novo mesto, sometimes on other occasions in Ljubljana. And they would start to investigate this shit the way they wanted. They had investigators coming from Maribor, from Celje, investigating this police station, talking also to me, giving me basically zero chance for success, promising me that they will, if it would take, if the case would already made it so far, and then giving me basically in the face a complete dismissal, like even demonstrating in front of the police officers whom they would do the hearing, and supposedly even a lie detector test, how they successfully completed the lie detector test, and asking them questions in front of me, have you done that and this and that, and I had, let's say, Officer Zajcek laughing in my face in front of this investigator who came from Steyerska, suggesting me, well, you know, no, stuff like that. This is not about sadism. This is about to play down somebody, you know, to play down, to continue to play down. It's like you, to be very, very, very illustrative, because I too have profiled people. I learned from psychiatrist Peter Kapsch that with Robert Golob, Slovenian Prime Minister Robert Golob, they have a Slovenian Prime Minister Robert Golob, he was observing the cars. You know, there was about lights and this and that and speed. Today we have again speed and crazy stuff. I realized that psychiatrist Peter Kapsch was convinced that MK Ultra is an attack on an individual subjected to a torture, MK Ultra, drugged up, subjected to the torture, which is followed up upon a set of abuses, attacks, crimes, that is followed up with more crimes, additional crimes. In fact, with the flux of crimes, you know what the flux is? Let's say you open the pipe and you have a flux of water rushing through that pipe. I don't know, again, in different world right now. Presek in Slovenian is like you would cut the pipe on half and you would look at the area, the size of that pipe, the diameter, okay, diameter of that, and then you, based on pressure, you would calculate basically the amount of water that would go through per minute, you know, or second or whatever hour. Flux, the pressure, the power, boom, that pushes forward something, flux of something. Psychiatrist Peter Kapsch saw genocide against me, therefore MK Ultra, imitation of the schizophrenia as a set of events, attacks, not events, but attacks that would follow one another, just like you watch a traffic on a highway when you see those cars, boom, 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 going past you, you know? or you would take a machine gun and you would squeeze that and you would have bullets fly out. You have never seen a maniac, a psychopath, a serial killer lunatic who created Vladimir Putin, such as is psychiatrist Peter Kapsch. He created Dodik, he created these lunatics. He did play both sides. He played Americans, he played the Russians. He played Americans because he was afraid for his life. But this is animal. This is an animal in a real sense, in a real, exactly what I explained to you. I saw him how he washes the cars. He got ideas, numerous ideas, about traffic involved in crime when walking, hiking next to me, and he was doing hiking on his own, and this guy was just completely hallucinating all kinds of scenarios, all kinds of stuff, just based on, we just saw the cars rushing past us. This guy was just thinking about how to make the damage, because he was certain that regardless of how much damage, how many crimes he does, together with Robert Golob, and Vladimir Putin watched this stuff. He learned from it. Vladimir Putin, when he learned about this stuff, he became really excited about it. He understand, it was sometimes in 2000, he understood this stuff. He became even more extremist. I'm not going to say on a heartbeat, but instantly. He did not even have to explain him. I was there when they talk about this stuff, and it was immediately clear to him. So this is a very, very good audio I already have provided for you, video. The last thing that I need to nail here before I let this go through, you're going to hear me also about certain other things I'm going to explain to you before I nail this, after I nail this, other incidents that I did not describe very well and why those were used. The last thing I need to explain here is that in respect to the legal letter, which I started to talk earlier at the beginning, because this is what this is all about. I went to pick up this legal letter. The judge requested from psychiatrist Peter Kapsch, who in front of me, who attended this hearing, to confirm what I stated, what I will state, what you're going to hear me describing in continuation of this audio. Therefore, if more involvement of so many people, in other words, gang stalking, if you like. Some people refer to this stuff as gang stalking. I do not, because those people are also interested in helping out. But in some cases, you can see more related issues to what I have described as a traffic, as those cars, congestion. In this case, perfect, because he had this car going 120, 110 kilometers in the opposite direction in an area of 50 kilometers an hour, and before that he attempted to hit me. We're talking about the same car. Truly disgusting when the judge asked psychiatrist Peter Kapsch in front of me, Slovenian judge during MK Ultra, asked him if this is true, that this is how MK Ultra is done. You as a judge, listen to me, whoever the fuck you are, and you're gonna dare to step in front of me. If I fucking hear you saying stuff like this, and I did explain to you, it's 3-4 years old children that learn what MK Ultra is all about. If I fucking hear you doubting this tape, asking a psychiatrist Peter Kapsch about what I just stated here, I will fucking destroy you. I will destroy you and your family and whatever the fuck you have. You're gonna be left with less than nothing. You understand? It's okay if you want to ask privately other psychiatrists and psychologists if MK Ultra is done this way, but if you will attempt to humiliate in absolutely any way in front of this animal that I described in this video in details, I will destroy you. I will destroy your life, whatever you managed, whatever you gathered in your life, you're going to end up with less than nothing. You and your family, that's a promise, that's an oath. Now, ladies and gentlemen, this is how the MK Ultra was enforced today. It's always circus. Today, however, was really extreme. I really didn't like the idea about being hit with a car. I didn't like that kind of stuff. You're gonna hear me talking about, I did spoke to the man at Dragovo, and I mistaken the man with a bicycle that was heading afterwards uphill. You will not know all this stuff. It doesn't really matter. And I also explained this in continuation anyhow. But I'm just going to say it this way. It was not only used by same people. Not everything that took place today was done by the same people. Not everything was done by the same people. It was done by different categories, by different people. It was done by different categories, by different people. For instance, there was a lady that was at the bridge, and that lady supposedly is a wife from one of the court employees, might be even judge or state prosecutor, could more likely be state prosecutor than judge. Police wanted to implicate the families of the judges, of the state prosecutors, etc., etc., to, as a neighbor, Metodi Ehrman, claimed, would be to see how much I really know, how much I really understand, how much I really know. I do have a problem with this statement. Therefore, this is insane. The lady met me on the bridge, and it was a certain situation that reminded of MK Ultra again. I should have gone and identified her, but instead I used the opportunity to remind her of what I was told during MK Ultra to see us. And she excused herself and disappeared from there, which I understand. I have a 93-year-old father at home for elderly people. He wants to get the fuck out, have his eyes fixed, and move on with life. This is my father. By the stuff you're doing, complicating it even further for me, and I do need medical assistance. There was a Serbian physician for whom I have stated have injected me with other physicians till 2009 at certain clinic, but they have also military hospitals for that matter. They injected me with something for what this physician stated in 2009 no longer will be necessary to do it. And did explain to me, this Serbian physician from Aleksandar Vučić, he was the one who proposed for him to become some kind of health minister or whatever. I don't know. It's on my blog. It says on my blog as a Serbian physician. He proposed in 2009 that it will no longer necessary be because I will naturally develop diabetes. It felt like as if they were doing stuff to me that would create diabetes. The issues when it comes to health, there were just simply too many issues to discuss. The lunacy they discussed range anywhere from direct energy weapons to the brain implants, to such a high degree of lunacy and the health consequences all of a sudden that I had to face with. 4 hours of sleep with a sound in my head 24/7, that I had absolutely no reason, the way they were describing me based on the knowledge they had, and I had none. And you're talking about entire General Hospital Novo Mesto, you're talking about Ljubljana UKC, you're talking about the Maribor UKC and Celje Hospital were all involved in this MK Ultra procedure. Just as Serbian University Clinic in Belgrade, the biggest hospital, was involved since my childhood in this stuff, and also clinics they have and psychiatric hospitals. You know, you need to fucking calm down when so much stuff and you want to go judge somebody who doesn't have any kind of background, medical background, and doesn't know what a renal injury is, or kidney injury is, or liver injury is, or lymph node injuries and stuff like this, or spine injury, bulge disc, and so on, stuff that you were playing with next to breaking teeth and so on during MK Ultra, stuff that can recuperate, and it did recuperate it. You can't fucking judge me by this as a physician. You have to have something in your head that should tell you that mechanical engineering technician, mechanic, doesn't have a medical background enough, especially if in chaotic circumstances. And all of you physicians, every physician know what MK Ultra is. I don't believe there is a physician that would not know about what MK Ultra is. Not a single physician, and not a single police officer, and not even a single fireman exists in this world that would, in this world, look how many physicians, look how many police officers, firemen are out there. Not a single one of you exists that would not know what MK Ultra is, and that's a fact. That's a big number of people. When you talk that you don't know about what MK Ultra is, and there is hundreds of millions of people that have seen it, know it from one way or another. I'm not saying that they were involved in my case. This is not what the hell I'm saying. But you try to impose some kind of general idea in a public established one that a guy maybe is insane because he says it's a directed energy weapon that is attacking him. Knowing, and I'm not going to say that you directly know, that this case was the most severe case in the history of the world when it comes to MK Ultra. That's not what I'm saying. But I'm saying that many of you knew this. Numerous of physicians. I almost doubt there was a hospital in this world, even General Hospital, that was not involved in this stuff. From Chile to Argentina, Brazil, Ecuador, Peru, Venezuela, Colombia, through the Central America, Cuba, North Korea, South Korea, Japan, China, through that Vietnamese, Thailandese, India, African continent. Every fucking hospital was involved in this shit. So many of you knew about this stuff, yet you gave them a chance. You didn't give me a chance. That's why I said at the beginning of this video, you saw whatever the fuck you wanted to see. If the person doesn't know about things, what was done to him, being electroshocked, subjected to this type of mistreatment, torture, You're gonna go and you're gonna judge if anything is wrong with him by watching him, that he is subjected, he keep coming to you. You've been involved in it and you're not saying anything. This is not neutrality, ladies and gentlemen. You're taking a very, very, very strong stand against humanity in this case. This is not about humanity. I mean, this is not about you being, I'm not going to say honest or, you know, you're doing a favor to some other people. That's why I recorded that video today. Don't bet on it. If you're going to ever see me again during MK Ultra, you're going to fucking hate it. In fact, I'm going to say to you, it's better you fucking kill me. Now, I don't really give a fuck about if I die during MK Ultra. Now, when the case come out and people know. Before, it would be really bad. It would be really sad. It would be very difficult for me to die without world knowing about what the fuck took place. Today, however, I don't give a three fuck. Because you have proven beyond any doubt that you have no ethics, that you are completely rotten as whole. Clearly that you allowed, clearly that you sided, and clearly you even contemplated on doing this stuff again, which is unheard of. It's unheard of. You have elected yourself politicians such as Ursula von der Leyen, Donald Trump, Joe Biden, and others who ran this case to simply might not be seen. For me not to be seen is to cover me up, basically like you cover somebody with the ground. You continued with your schizophrenia. That's a schizophrenia. You are closer to schizophrenia as I am. If you listen to this audio so far, you understand clearly you are much closer to the schizophrenia because of your own fears, because of your own reputation, because of your own problems. You saw things in me during MK Ultra that had nothing to do with the reality, during torture, during bestiality. But you saw it because it was convenient for you. So in other words, you saw whatever you wanted to see. All right, I don't want to stretch this stuff. I did the prelude into this audio. Now I'm going to go and burn this in a low resolution just for this audio to go online and enjoy. This is what MK Ultra is like. The next thing tomorrow I'm going to do also, it's going to be a visual video where I will break down. I'm going to put some videos, audio recordings, video recordings, which I did have video recordings. As you know, the police have stolen me a few months ago a telephone, and I have experienced major problems with video recording this stuff. Now, the assassination attempt, after thoroughly researched, you're gonna hear this in audio anyhow. It became evident it belonged to a neighbor, Metod Yerman, and entire Aragovska village knew about this. This guy, he wasn't so secretive. It was ran by Novo mesto police, who also made sure that when I would be returning back, I traced this man just as he promised he would do. He did to through Ragovo, and that's where he went, took a completely different route toward Ragovska to avoid going past Palček on a normal road. So he claimed during MK Ultra there are cameras over there at the intersection of when you go with this bistro bar, Palček it's called, when you come from the breach, Lochna breach and that kind of stuff. That's what he claimed me during MK Ultra. That's why he's going to be doing that kind of stuff. And he even gave me a signal how he disappeared with this little car and so on. This was engineered by Novo mesto police, who made sure that after I again came from this Ragovo village, upon completion of this investigation, they would slowly drive past me, and obviously by some coincidence mistake, I have recorded only 1 second of video recording. I was sure that I video recorded the whole thing, and went under the bridge and then continued through the bridge, for which Novo Mesto police officers stated me, "Oh well, we told you to call us and we will help you. It's too bad you don't call us and therefore we cannot help you." That's fucked up. I'm gonna say police car was there. You will hear me on audio recording because this stuff is actually audio recorded, talking about this stuff, and I think I was very, very clear. No, it doesn't come in consideration me even have to identify the wives and I don't know whom from prosecutors and I don't know what the fuck. You are fucking nuts. This is fact. Nobody needs to identify anybody when it comes to the rape, like I did. That you're gonna go and fucking tell all kinds of stuff, like I did. This is craziness. Police in Canada and in US already acted before, assisting people that were subjected to MK Ultra torture. This stuff is actually registered. They did not publicly, I guess, they were really not good at denouncing MK Ultra crime. I guess the US government, Canada, British I should say, Australians were in MK Ultra very bad. A lot. I guess that you just didn't want, you hushed people with the money so that it wouldn't be other people that would start to complain about this, and then in my case would not go through for the royals and stuff like that. You needed to keep this stuff hushed about the victims, but people provided close to nothing when compared to me. Not even 1% of what I did. 0.5% they didn't, for government violence to stop. But in this case, we have a completely different settings, but you're gonna fucking regret that. Don't worry about it. So it's all good. You keep going, and that much worse you're gonna look. That much worse you look. There's no way you're gonna ever replicate anything. Today you replicate all kinds of incidents, like the one in Japan. Let's say from Shizuoka, I saw the man who was wrongfully accused of murder for 45 years. He was involved in my case. I told him, man, you're free. I told him this in 2010, something like that. Go and do the business, I told him. I told him, fuck them. And this was year, you know what year was it? It was 2008, something like that. I told them, fuck them all, I said. You are a free man. Use the money and go and do the business. You know what he said to me, a little man? He said to me, what do you think? What do you think? What do you think? Do you think it's so easy out there? You are crazy, you are crazy, you are crazy. So, in a way, the police director from Shizuoka who was involved in this, they helped him out, and I'm thankful to him, because there's no way that he was accused, I don't know, for 20 years. Even if you're accused or wrongfully accused for 1 year or 6 months or 1 month, that's bullshit. That's a total bullshit. That's a total bullshit to be accused for 1 day. For 1 month to go to be accused is inhumane completely, But so many fake cases, you can do whatever the fuck you want. People of this world, they remember the king. They remember the king. You can never replicate anything like this. This was run by the physicians. People tested it on me. I was a toy who was alive. A live toy. Whatever the fuck you're gonna do, you're never gonna have anything like this. Nothing like this is ever going to come anywhere even close for obvious reasons. So it takes more than a man to do it. Charlie Sheen said, I don't know, 2.5 men or 1.5 men or whatever. No, it takes more than that. Also involved with entire Hollywood. Enjoy the audio, get to know basically what this looks like. This, obviously, everything, including with the recording I have just provided, it's quite priceless actually, this program, to explain, truly analyze what was inside of the head of these people, how they view, how they saw this stuff, why they have this kind of problems. I'm just a mirror. I'm your mirror. I'm their mirror of these politicians that enforce this stuff. I am your mirror. Don't you fucking understand this? You did this shit to yourself. You did it to yourself. You really didn't need this. But you didn't believe in me. In fact, you were sure that cancer and everything else is going to carry me away and nothing is going to ever come out anyways. Well, God, they say, works in a mysterious ways. Thanks for watching this video. Actually, this is audio. Listen, in this program, this is the criminal evidence I'm going to use. The last thing, maybe even more important, the most important one when it comes to this legal letter, because this is what this was all about. The last thing I want to say about this legal letter is Nurse Janko, psychiatrist Peter Kapsch, with the neighbor Method Yerman, they discussed the issue of the evidence, criminal evidence. How much is the criminal evidence worth? What exactly is worth? And they figure out that in my case, because it's an ethnic cleansing case, it's just they would not use that kind of language. In my case, the most precious, and I cannot but agree to that stuff, part of the evidence is the one that was recorded about, just as I explained, you're going to hear me in continuation, that I recorded about at Home for Elderly People and at police station, because of the hypocrisy, because of the criminal attitude, because of schizophrenia you suffer from at Home for Elderly People at police station Novo Mesto. Like I said, you view reality based on your needs, based on your sickness, not for what it is. You see it the way you want to see it. This is what you think the law is. It's that much worse for you. And just as you stated, the audio recordings by Mamai identifying people and so on and so forth, people coming forward for me to identify them and this and that, is not even of any value to you. I completely agree with it. It truly is of no value to me. Because, do you know why it's of no value to me? Because this is about the genocide. This is about the extermination procedure. And when you're doing extermination procedure, when you're doing a genocide, that's when you're using people, all kinds of people from all walks of with all walks of background. You use them to demonstrate, in this case, as a part of the case, you use that to demonstrate your goodwill, your willingness to help, to assist, etc., blah, 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 blah. When in reality, this shit is all about the police, it was all about the torture, it was all about Home for Elderly People, it was all about the denial of the right to employment, denial of the right to exist. Me identifying people is what police, Illuminatis counted on. British royals more than anybody else. They were addicted to it. They demanded from me to identify people. They were obsessed with the idea, claiming there were so many people involved. But they were not involved. It was about the torture, sleep deprivation, trauma, heart burnout, trauma-based torture. This is what this shit was, through the poisoning, literally. And this was about making individual physically and mentally as sick as possible, so at one point in time he would fail. And you did this over the period of 53 years. It was very important to them because they wanted to demonstrate their involvement as, you know, a donation, charity, help. They didn't want to see themselves for what they were. They wanted to be seen as a charitors, as a donators, as charity, as a help, as a assistance, as a backup, that kind of stuff. Is as disgusting as it gets, but of the main value to me. This is why I got so peeved about this stuff when they come to me and tell me, you're gonna take the recording from Home for Elderly People. No, I don't do that stuff. I can take that stuff from, you know, a person would come to me and ask me about something, let's say, you know, specific person will say, I don't want to be, you know, whatever, for whatever reason and so on. I would do him a favor. I don't, you know, whatever, you know, we will work it out for that stuff. But when it comes to police, when it comes to Home for Elderly People, where I was tortured inside, no, that's why where my 93-year-old father is. No, Slovenia used my father as an issue because they wanted to prove it's not about the ethnic cleansing. I did spoke on Blogger about the issue of the known Čuši, Slovenci, Čuši. Čuš, supposedly in Slovenian language, is a derogatory term that the Germans have used on Slovenes during Austrian-Hungarian Empire. I did explain absolutely everything about that issue. So what they wanted to do is they wanted to create a massacre within the family. They wanted the family members to kill one another. They wanted to demonstrate through the tensions, through completely insane stuff, literally through psychiatry, complete division of the family, in fact. This is what the Slovenian prosecutors came. This is what the Slovenian prosecutors, Milan Kučan, Robert Golob, prosecutors from Ljubljana, they came with a plan. They're going to portray that this is not ethnic cleansing, but it's about something else. It was all about the Čuši. It was all about the word Čuš. Čuši, Čuš. Never mind the word Nemčutari. Nemčuri, Nemčutari. Never mind. Never mind about that stuff. We're going to discuss that stuff about later on. That's the opposite. That's where Slovenian people refer to the Slovenian people that didn't want to have problems with people mixing themselves with Germans, living in a harmony in peace with them. That's a different term. That's called Nemčutar, derogatory for Slovenian people alone. For the Slovenian people, derogatory term Nemčutar. This is what this is all about. They wanted to use my father to portray it was not for ethnic cleansing, literally to see division between me and him, basically see father and son. Like they say in the Serbia, Milošević and Vučić say, udri sina, ubi oca system. Hit your son, kill your father system. So this is, in continuation, is exactly the audio, beautiful stuff that I have managed to record today. Actually, this goes under the April of 16, 2025. Enjoy, because just as the prelude I gave you, a masterpiece truly is, this will not disappoint you. Even the lady they have used at postal office, who was not only involved in MK Ultra, but selected by the police. That's what psychiatrist Peter Kapsch and neighbor Metod Jerman insisted me. With others also, they demanded from me a complete silence fear, scaremongering, for me to shake in fear all the time. That's how they predisposed this is going to be. They did not anticipate anything like this. They anticipated complete craziness, frenzy, irritation, confusion, basically something that's related to psychosis, PT, post-traumatic stress disorder issues, bipolar, stuff like that. They didn't get any of that stuff. They didn't get any back down, any silence, anything like that. Instead, they get the stuff that you get to listen. They hired this lady at postal office today. She was involved in MK Ultra, I don't know. Today, however, I see her for the first time. Was she working at the postal office? Who the fuck cares? Who the hell knows? I'm not crazy to go and guess if she did or not. It would be stupid from my side to do with the people like this. Fuki, electroshock, ECT, guessing, ghost workers playing inside of the stores, at home for elderly people, at the police station, like I stated. They had Buzhichnik coming already in 2008, in 2006, as a child, basically, almost. They had him come to Novo mesto, dress himself as a police officer to sit next to Pevets, who met me at Novo mesto police station, and other police officers started to train him, give him a pleasure of becoming a police officer. So he fantasized about becoming police officer, and that's how they keep getting him returning back to Novo mesto, you know. They use all kinds of people. So this lady today that they use, who knows? She was employed by this postal office or not. She played during MK Ultra a postal office worker, and she did suggested me today to write down during the pickup of this letter, to write down a date with the letters. Therefore, April should be written with an April, and the 16 should be right as 16 with the letters of 2025, or everything in letters. No, not really. What I did for her was, however, I did wrote down April, and then I did everything in numbers 16 and 2025. That's exactly what I did. It was during MK Ultra suggested to me that if I would not comply with her, that this would be already her way, that they would be collecting the proofs and stuff like this. So it's like I stated, it's about traumatizing one all the time. If you remember those scars, when I said crimes and so on, it's about keeping one all the time as much as possible lobotomized, in other words, so that he just responds to attacks by just going, you know, and this and this and this, and I was there and this and this and this, and I was there and this and this and this. No, it doesn't work here like this. We do, based on MK Ultra analysis, comments, and also help you fantasists not to fantasize, not to fool yourself about how you are going to even resolve this case. Talking about the Slovenian nation, Slovenian judges. I recorded in front of the postal office, I explained. You will not be fucking explaining. You're going to hear this on the audio recording. You're not going to be resolving this case. This is not the case for you to resolve. This is the case for the International Criminal Court, for United Nations, maybe for the court in Strasbourg to resolve this case. Not for, it's funny, they sent a daughter from Milan Kucan to United Nations as a representative of Slovenia. You're not going to have a pleasure of it. You're not going to have a pleasure of it. This is a genocide. You cannot resolve the genocide. Slovenia, you cannot resolve the genocide. You committed the genocide, and you committed it at 3 months of my age. You are hiding behind the Serbs. You are hiding behind the name Yugoslavia. Since 91, you became liable, together with Janša, Peterle, Rupel, all this so-called pro-independence people, you became liable for much larger portion of the genocide than the one Yugoslavia committed, Serbs committed during Yugoslavia against me. You have your independent country, you have your state, it's called Slovenia, yet you decided to see things whatever the fuck you wanted to see, and this is basically from both sides of the Slovenian political spectrum. And I have to be honest with you, there is no left and there is no right here. There is no right and there is no wrong in this case. It's just that you are on trial. The judge is going to take on me this case. Is going to have responsibility to deal with his own share of crime against me when it comes to Slovenia. Think about it. Just as I explained in front of the Novo Mesto postal office, you will not be solving this stuff. Nobody is intimidated here. You're not collecting the proofs. You are responding to me. You are responding to my quests. You are responding to my concerns. That's what we are at. And you're never ever going to be again in control of this case. Never ever you're going to be, never ever going to have any kind of control of this case, not even the smallest one. If you put me behind the bars, if you jail me today or whatever the fuck you do, you would have exactly zero control over this case. This is the first case like this in the history of the world. It took me 53 years to bring one to this degree. Yet it was done. I did it. I accomplished it. And I truly did nothing other than responded to what I explained earlier was taking place. It is true, but I managed to get through. I managed to what Andrew Tate was laughing in my face. He was talking about the overload. He was talking about you're not solving immediately the issues is what creates the biggest problems. He was laughing to me in my face with his friend psychiatrist Peter Kapsch, like basically saying, fuck you, good luck with this kind of stuff. Like I said, Illuminatis, they had their own views on life, on people, on humanity. I got to know this precisely. It's other people also will become familiarized with their mentality, how the brain works, how they see everything else. And so we had said what I have stated here. I don't have anything else to say. It's also important here to note about this legal letter that arrived to me. Something that I might have even missed in when I stated. I should have write myself down before I do this shit, but I usually keep all this stuff in my head. That's why my head is so big, maybe. About this letter that arrived. There's some important stuff I was going to say about this letter. The letter for this letter, I was explained by the psychiatrist Peter Kapsch that most likely I would not even make it to respond by the judges, not psychiatrist Kapsch only. They were laughing at me, insisting, demanding from me to understand that there is a paper inside. It's not open yet. We're going to open this tomorrow. That will even give me the opportunity to complain back, to write my version to them and start to communicate with them, etc., etc. I don't have anything to communicate with you. I am so good at communicating in English when it comes to the stuff I do that you ought to be fucking stupid to not understand the stuff I talk about. There's something terribly wrong with you, whether you be a judge, a police officer, whoever the fuck you are, a prime minister, president. You ought to be fucking mentally retarded not to understand the stuff I talk, because I really do explain. I go in depth and I explain through exactly the way they pursued, the way they engage in crime against me, on what their expectatives, what this was about, and so on. Yeah. Whatever there might be inside in here tomorrow when I'm going to open this stuff, this is about me responding on time to the court and this and that. This is just as I stated. You are on trial. I'm not on trial. You are on trial. Slovenia, you are on trial, and you will not be solving this case. And your grandchildren will be responsible for this case. This isn't about Kuchan. This isn't about Robert Golob. This is about all of you collectively. You did reach this kind of status. Quite a disgraceful thing, I'm going to say, but you managed it. This is in Slovenian, and it's also in English language. That I would go and identify so many people, so many locations. It's impossible for me to identify so many people, so many locations. I'm going to say to the people, thank you for assisting me, for helping me out, wherever the fuck you are. People did have their own views on this stuff, but it was always the government that was the one that had the detrimental word about this stuff, that the way they ran, enforced this stuff. With the Slovenia, however, I do not agree. I paid such a tremendous price for existence of Slovenia. Slovenia never ever was independent country, you know, in the history of the world. One time it was known as Carantania. That was one time. That was in, I think, like in 700, about over 1,300 years ago, over 1,300 years ago. And all my life in Slovenia, I was called by people, whether that be at local employment agency, even as lazy, as no good, as people that were coming inside of this house, as careless, as, you know, by my parents, by my family, is vagabond, basically, is somebody literally by the neighbors, by employees from home for elderly, police, who doesn't know where the fuck is going, where his place is, that is just a poor creature in this world, depending on the handouts of the other people. Just fucking see how much money they have stolen from me from online revenue. Never mind mechanical engineering and other work and stuff like this that I had no right to employment. You know, never mind that you deleted the school and everything. Never mind that I could got doctoral degrees and so on, but you made sure that, you know, that I barely would even complete equivalent to high school. Never fucking mind your electroshocks and everything. Never mind. Thank you, I'm gonna say. Enjoy. This is the way it looked when you go to the city. Quite crazy, but today really that stuff really went far too far. Police officers of Novo mesto orchestrated this hit today with a car. He could have crashed another car with that type of velocity, and the way he came from one side of the road where he was on the left. He's supposed to drive on the right side of the road. In Europe we drive on the right side of the road. In Britain they do on the left side. It's also Europe, but who cares? This guy went from the right side to the left side, which he had no fucking right. And in fact, the road right there is wide about 4.5 meters. There was really no need for him to do that. And at quite a dangerous location, if I might say that, close to under the bridge, which could actually even result in, I don't know, if somebody would run from the other direction, you know, whatever. This is sick. This is insane. I switches the sides of the roads based on incoming traffic. If I have the cars coming from behind, I make sure that I'm always located on the other side of the road. Therefore, from behind, if I would have cars coming from behind, that means I would be located on without, you know, having any control, any visibility of them, that means I would be on the right side of the road. And that's deadly, that's dangerous. So I always make sure I walk on the other opposite side of the road, not on the side of the road where the car can come to me from behind. And I am so good at doing this stuff that before the car comes from the opposite direction, I make sure that if, of course, there is no car coming from behind, I make sure that I switch side of the road to the right side of the road. So the cars practically never come to me anywhere even close. So what this guy did today when he came from behind, literally almost smashing me on my side of the road. And when I walk on the road, I also make sure that I walk right along the edge on the asphalt of the road. That's not very good at all. That's not a very good stuff at all. So with my saying this, I can finally say, yes, go and listen this audio. Crazy stuff. Novo Mesto police orchestrated on April the 16th, 2025. Tomorrow, yet we're going to see what is inside of this legal letter. Contrary to the police, cops, I am not worried about if I had to respond in writing, my complaint, whatever. We have plenty time. That's correct. We have plenty time for that. No worries. My telephone was stolen, literally stolen, so that I could not even have one for the court hearing. I have to tell you that. Based on MK Ultra, it was the time they demonstrated me how the telephones are stolen from the back pockets, or when the people sit and they place the telephones next to them on the bench. And this was in the middle of the night practically, what I really did not anticipate it. But what was demonstrated to me at Žižkovo Selo will be done. No control over the telephone when you do this. Anybody can come from behind and even take one from your pouch, not only from the back pocket. So that stuff was involved in MK Ultra, exactly parallel to the court proceeding, to the court hearing. The judge stated me that, just as you're going to hear as I recorded in front of the postal office, that during the hearing he would even say, and that I should not say under any circumstances when I appear in front of him, that he knows me, etc., that he would be the one who would identify me, the Slovenian judge. Well, it's called too little, too late. I am age 53, and guess what? You practically killed my father. The damage that you caused in this case, it's called a genocide, it's called extermination procedure, and you will be held liable for it. You will explain to United Nations why and how the fuck you were into this stuff. Because this is the world that the world wants to hear. How you did this stuff, why you did this stuff, and why you continue to enforce this stuff when this stuff already became completely public. How you insisted through corruption, how you do this stuff, ethnic cleansing. You're going to explain everything about the word čuš and also nemčutar. Thank you very much. April 16, 2025. Enjoy. Tomorrow, as I stated, you're going to get original videos of these incidents. The car who ran like fucking crazy. But you believe this? I actually managed to get a little piece of one on the telephone, just a little bit. But I don't know what happened with when it came to the police car that I tried to video record. I fucked it up. Obviously I did not video record this. Maybe there was some other issue, I don't know, but I do believe that I was the one who was at fault, that maybe because of the excitement, because of this degree of lunacy like this, basically police laughing in my face. I mean, that I did not manage actually to really video record one, but there is, everything is time, everything is timing, everything is recorded time based, everything. I have original recording, everything, fucking everything is ready. So this is what took place. This is the original recording of my going to the city to pick up this legal letter, which we're gonna open tomorrow. One thing I'm gonna say, just as I was told not to do this during MK Ultra, they asked me about this stuff. I did. I told the lady I'm illiterate. that I don't know how to write down the date, year, everything with letters. I know it's inappropriate. I know it's inappropriate. What the fuck is not inappropriate? What in this case is exactly is appropriate? Where is the appropriate here? It's enough that I appeared over there and that I actually signed for the letter. It's enough that I dated the letter and I have written even the month with the letters. Very relevant also for me to say is that when it comes to the London, and I am just making a project about that, I will never forget when I was when I was like age 11, you know, little boy, and Prince Philip told me, hey, it's nothing with you. You're also only causing us problems. It is nothing with you. It was sometimes in 1983. 1983, you are only causing us problems. It's nothing with you. Americans were more modest. They realized how the infrastructure, the road infrastructure improved throughout the Canada, United States of America, where people would drive me, talking about the senators, such as Robert Kennedy Jr. was one of the people that would he loved to fly with a car using these American limousines and would transport me. Would have other cars also that they would fly down the coast, western coast, from Los Angeles to Vancouver. I even had people taking me through, literally racing people, police, all kinds of senators, people like that, flying through Chicago, Detroit to, I don't know, what the fuck is that, Toronto, what is the name of the city, from the western coast, from Los Angeles. We had this kind of stuff, and they would talk about this stuff, how much time it took them. This is when extremely hostile toward royals times. You know, times when you had this very anti-royal atmosphere throughout the US especially, and then also Canada, that British royals like Prince Andrew and Prince Charles were extremely worried, stressed about attitude from United States spreading through the Canada, anti-royalism. And they would use me as a baby, literally as a 3 years old, just like Americans did, like Nixon and Reagan used me throughout the US to stink, people. They were using me, royals were using me for the anti-royalists throughout the Canada. Queen Elizabeth did with Prince Philip as a baby, 3 years, 4 years old, 5 years old. Deliver me to the disco. When I was 5 years old, they would deliver me to the disco, and I would become this magic baby that would have all kinds of people pull from underground, and then it would be, they would start to play with me, all kinds of stuff and so on. They would spread the name about me being Illuminati #1 baby. The one that is strictly royals, that is basically presenting the royal violence. And once they see that this type of idea in people throughout the Canada and United States, and the people would appear at disco and start to bully with me and so on, till we would go to the physical stuff, then it would be bouncers and police that would take care of them. When I was 6 years of age, it was already Prince Andrew who tutored me. He told me how he said to me, the worst thing that we do to them is basically sanction them. And I said, what is this sanction them? Because what I wanted is, I want this fuckers to be beaten up because they were violent with me, and I did not even know why the fuck they were violent with me, But I was such a tough baby that I just took the position of the Illuminatis, whatever. I saw myself truly like a Illuminati when I was a little baby. I saw myself as a royal. I saw them like my family, basically. And Prince Andrew and Charles didn't want to tell me They told me, we're going to tell you this when you grow up, when you get a little bit bigger. That means a psychiatric hospitalization. They were hospitalizing people by using me as a baby. They had people running literally through Toronto and to Vancouver from Los Angeles, from New York, going on a crazy trips, basically using all kinds of people from the US and from the Canada that would know the clubs in throughout the Canada or northern US, Minnesota and Illinois. And they would lure these people, and that's why they would fuck them up, basically. And they would have people disappear. This is what I would use for. You know, when this man said, you know, that I was a fucking nobody, you know, talking about the Prince Philip here, therefore Queen Elizabeth, you know, that I'm only out there to cause them a trouble. It's important to stress because earlier I suggested that these people presented themselves during MK Ultra as a donators, as a charity. This is what even Robert Golob and Milan Kucan started to use the Slovenian police officers. I remember the neighbor here, Metod Jerman, oh, it's a charity, you know, this guy who met me in 2022 at the police station when I came to inquire about my father's medical files assistance. He said, how many times around the world it's a charity, it's a charity. Fuck was a charity. This was no fucking charity. This was such an extermination procedure. The world had fucking seen nothing as violent as this yet. Nothing like this as violent yet. It's a miracle that this scum has ability to cause so much violence and manage to get away with it. I fucking admire you motherfuckers for having the ability to cause so much harm, so maliciousness, such an evil, and you actually manage to get away with it. Well, do not bet on it anymore. This was no charity. This was the mother and father of all extermination procedures in a modern history the world have seen witness to. And it took no less than 53 years to take you down, scum. I admire you for that stuff. Charity my ass. I became more and more and more unnecessary once the Soviet Union had fallen down, the country, the Soviet Union that I crashed down through literally people of the Soviet Union. Non-Russians started to see themselves in me. And also Russians didn't like the way it was. I was no longer necessary. This is how the British royals do. Then it's when they openly switch the table together with the Russians, beginning sometimes like 3 years before the crash of the Soviet Union. They all already worked together because they already signed the new plan, the new pact with the Russians. So I had no allies on the West, and I had no allies on the East. I had no fucking allies anywhere. Those in the East fear for their life. Those in the West wanted the more money, more career, more this, more that. Auf Wiedersehen Berlin once it became free, Eastern Germany and so on, etc., etc. They talk about donations, but scum still could not make it without me, because this is how known I became. They still needed me for all kinds of sting operations, wars, and so on and so forth, just as it started. Anywhere from the Middle East through the Syria, as Israel was using me, all the way through Asia, Africa, South America, Northern America, wherever the fuck they, wherever I was, the hottest, the most needed item. Yeah, they started to talk about the charity. This is British royals. This is British. This is Central American Agency, CIA. That's FBI. And yes, then you're not necessary, then you're no longer needed, then they fucking kill you. You have seen how far they have gone. You have seen what they did after 38, 39 years of bestiality, MK Ultra torture. You have seen I wasn't worth more than being dumped into the psychiatric hospital. You have seen my life was worth less than the life of the fly.
see if we can afford this stuff. We have a technician over there dressed completely in white, clown that crossed the street, and so he had a big idea on his chest hanging from him with a camera right there in his hand. Alright. JK309 license plate. Our guy imitates the guy. Everything according to Angela, but the lady over there imitates the guy. Serving protection will be down forward. Dobar večer želim. Jaz bom pa tole predstavil, prosim. Hvala. Prosim? Je. Bo. Evo, samo da iz denarca potegnem ven. To sem jaz. Hvala.
S besedami datum.
Aha. Bomo to naredili. Ne vem, če sem to naredil pravilno. Dobro je tako.
S besedami je treba.
Sem nepismen, gospa, jaz sem nepismen. Dajmo. Jaz sem nepismen. Hvala lepa. Da smo to počeli zares. Aprila 16. 2025. Strela ide nas, ne? Hvala lepa. Takole bomo to stvar naredili, to zadevo. Mother came upstairs to ask me why am I locking myself. She was cutting the grass all day long. And right now it's barely 1700 hours, not even 17. Something is missing, like 5 minutes to 1700 hours. Then you had of course, there's a video recorded about the legal letter pickup, which I'm not going to open here. a girl at Ragovo in the net based on MK Ultra scenario. Small girl, young girl, not so small, young girl who posed based on MK Ultra scenario in respect to Thailand. If you will mention Thailand and this, that will not be able to help you on this and that. They were going to keep me in the net, and she was reading something, whatever she was doing inside in there. That's what you use for the jumping. In the city was more action. The guy with the camera dressed up like a medical technician, white shirt, white jacket, bright pants, crossing the road based on MK Ultra scenario. Lady right there at the driving school, Alfa, whatever that is, Generali insurance company at the Glavni Trg, right before you get to the postal office, had a similarity as facial with Miran Sudin. It was about Miran Sudin. A little further, as I stepped forward, the guy whose license plate I even took, I reminded, based on MK Ultra scenario, of a Serbian Belgrade. This is going to have a real problem with this shit. Technician from Ljubljana Polje, psychiatric hospital. That's a funny stuff, man. That kind of stuff, basically. Anxiety plate. Asked at the postal office to sign a document with my own in words, and instead I have written what I have written was April 16 in the number 16, comma, and I also put the year in the numbers. The same lady as was involved in MK Ultra demanded from me, promised me that in MK Ultra it's going to have to be, this time it's going to have to be written and that kind of stuff. I told her I am illiterate. That's all there is to it. That's very, very admissible stuff for any court. This was a little pickup on April 16, 2025. Another extra kilo lady was right next to me, involved in MK Ultra, was looking at me at the shelter right next to when I was talking to a postal worker. I don't know what her business was to look at me. I don't know, but it was based on MK Ultra also. Oh boy, these people have a lot of time to waste. There you go. This is the letter was picked up at the postal office just at the time of the date, just as you see it, 5 minutes before 1900 hours. I made a mistake when I recorded. I mentioned 1700 hours. No, 5 minutes before 1900 hours. They're just about to close. So we're going to learn about this one once I get it home. That's all there is. They seem to me to be as nervous as fuck. The judge who was involved in this case, this judge who was involved in this case, suggested me as soon as I appear myself in the court, he's going to say that he knows me and this is going to be it. This was another scenario he had. And if I will say this will not be the case, well, the thing is that there was no good and there was no bad when it comes to Slovenian people. They were all in agreement with one another. Janša, Peterle, Milan Kuchan, Robert Golob, Pahor, Fayon, they were all in agreement. When it comes to my case, they were all in agreement. So there was no good and there was no bad. And this will go on the shoulders of the grandchildren. They will not be solving this case. Slovenian people will not be solving this case. Period. People video recording me and stuff. It's good. It's all good. They continue to push MK Ultra down the throat. Psychiatrist Peter Kapcher clowns. White Skoda right there made a right turn towards me. Psychiatrist Peter Kapcher insisted it's gonna be toward the court. Quarter means too bad. Yeah, right. Yeah. BG 706 Skoda car. That's BG 706. Alright, let's see how that's gonna work out. Lepa sličica.
Ja, ta lepo, ja, mislim, da Kronca je nad gimnazijo gor.
Kje je Kronca?
Žarcu.
Aha, ja, nad gimnazijo pravite.
Ja, to je gimnazija?
Ja, je. Ko ste bila na tej gimnaziji?
Ne, jaz
Ne?
ne.
Niste bila?
Ne.
Aha. Niste bila, pravite.
Ne.
Da poznano se mi zdite, ampak
A ja?
ja,
Ne.
ja ne vem, kam bi vas natančno
A ja?
dal.
Pa ne vem, meni se ne zdite.
Vi
Jaz
meni
vas
pa.
ne poznam. Ja,
Res?
možno, res.
Ja, ja.
Ja.
Aha. Ja. Takrat, ko jaz rečem, da ljudje mene ne poznajo, ne,
Ja.
pa ko pravijo, pravim jaz, da jih poznam, pa ko
Ja.
pravijo, da mene ne poznajo,
Aha.
ja, je bilo različnih stvari, zaradi različnih stvari, ampak vi ste bila s tem telefonom usmerjena tam v tisto sodišče tam, po MK Ultra scenariju. Tako da ni bilo glih, da vi mene ne poznate. Vi mene poznate.
Prosim?
Samo vi
Kaj sem
mene
bila?
poznate.
Kaj sem bila usmerjena?
S telefonom ste bila proti sodišču tamle. Tukaj
Kaj?
ste bila, zdajle.
Ne.
No ja, po tistem vašem scenariju, ki ste se z njim igrali, tako bilo.
Prosim?
Po vašem scenariju, pravim, s katerim ste se...
ne razumem, vam želim še naprej lep
Okej,
dan.
jaz vam tudi lep dan želim.
Nasvidenje.
Hvala, nasvidenje. And this was the last case of MK Ultra that took place at the bridge. I'm at the bridge right now. Well, the lady was using the rear camera. I asked her, a nice day. Based on MK Ultra, this will be, you will point your telephone into a courthouse. This is what the shit was all about. And so she by herself, taking a picture of gymnasium. Which she did. She knew about this beams in the back, but she did imitate the MK Ultra scenario, for which she suggested a courthouse. And previously I took the license plate of Skoda NMBG, so the white one. That's all that is. Skoda Superb. Skoda is the car I will never drive again. But that car in Poland was good. I like that car. That old car, I like it. But what the Czechs did with the Polacks was very bad. Assisted Slovenian police in a very dirty way. So that's going to be bad. Because she was the last one, I did, of course, confronted her. So this is right in the court where I picked up the stuff. Where I picked up the stuff earlier, and I was returning. Shit. I had one recorder turned off. It's turned on, but the other one is on, so it's all good. A lot of psychiatric action, little results. No, man, this stuff is not going to the internet anywhere. Until it's over, and so it's going to be based on my account, based on my description later. That's why I record this stuff. This is the stuff that went all along. Every time I came to the city, they were imitating this MK Ultra stuff. But today I feel the end is near. The end is coming very near now. So I felt that this would be just the right thing to do. Really collect every fucking proof that is available out there. Just go for it. That's all there is to it. A return from the postal office toward home. April 16, 2025. Ne bojo, to oni rešvali. Oni so že rešili vse, kar je bilo treba. Pomembno je, da zvejo pred tem, da ne bojo rešvali. Da ne bo kdo rekel, da sem jaz, da so pomagali ali kaj takega. Tu bi bil pa še zadnji udarc najhujši. S tem se pa ne bi mogel sprijazniti. Ne v tem, ne v naslednjem življenju. Se ne bo zgodilo. Quite crazy, man. They were asking me why is it I don't like them. They were not interested in solving this thing, but they were interested in asking, knowing why is it that I don't like them. Slovensko. Kako je to videti? Ja, tu bo se pisal. Na koncu pa klofuta tista tam, ki je bila pred spodaj, da ne bi rekel slučajno kdo misli, da bo karkoli drugače. Niti pod razno ne. Gonna, for the MK Ultra proof, also it was a Skoda car, I think, the license plate that I took in front of the postal office. For the MK Ultra proof today on April 16, 2025, you're gonna use that guy who imitated the technician right in front of the postal office that you took the license plate from one. The car belonged to his father or father-in-law. I think it was a father-in-law, the white Skoda. He didn't have the money back time to buy one yet, but now he probably did. He buy one from what I suspect is a father-in-law. He's a blonde guy, semi-blonde guy, tall guy, dressed up was like a, I don't know, like a typical KGB, like a Russian, something like that. That's as far as the MK Ultra proves about this, what just took place. The lady on the bridge was a nice lady, whatever. Yeah, fucking nice. I lost 53 years. It's very nice. Ni tu tako na go, napisamo te stvari, da ne bo res dumno, da je z mano narobe, kaj tako. Jaz to vašo šizofrenijo razpičkam na hitro, da se tu konča. polni tako da je grozno. Slovenci tega ne bojo razreševali, ta stvar bo bila razrešena, jaz sem jo razrešil celo. Če človek nekaj naredi, potem ni potrebe po drugih stvareh. Zvočni posnetki ljudi in te stvari so čist idiotizem. Zaradi tega, ker zvočni posnetki ljudi niso dokazovali drugega, kot češ, da so ti pomagali vse skozi, da bi to zadevo končal. Kakšno kurčevo zadevo. Elektrošoke, kurba. Pretepanje. V čemu te ljudje sploh kurba so gobec vrteli. Največ, kar je vredno, je dom za starejše pa policija. In tisto, kar je največ vredno od vsega. Drugo je ščet, vse ščet. Tega pa jaz ne dam. Lahko imajo tiste posnetke od ljudi, ki sem jih posnel, tega pa ne bojo nikoli dobili. To se pa ne bo zgodilo. To je moje. Ne dam. Tukaj se gre za genocid, ne za eno igro, za eno igrco. Tukaj hodem z identifikatorov, pa se pa umem od dol. To je dokaz, da je šlo pri celi zadevi samo za kučanje. Sami sebe so spokavali, skušali. Pa so hoteli pa še mene zatočiti, ker so ugotovili, da so sami sebe spokavali. So mi hoteli pa še glavo odrezati tam. In to na kakšen način. Res potropčevsko narejeno. Pa prav Slovenci. Imate mucka, gre z vami.
Ja, to je naš dežurni.
Kako je lepa.
Ja, sama čuva, kamor gremo.
Kako je lepa, kako si lepa ti. In gre z vami lepo.
Zdaj me je čokal. Zdaj se je čokal po njem.
Po tebi? Ali kako misliš po tebi se je čokal?
Lara pomaga, Lara če.
A ja, to pa ja. In vi greste skupaj, ne?
Ja, pa ne, da si ti se zlako ti.
Ja, ja, ja. Ja, pa imaš pa res dlake, ampak pa lepe čevlje, pa lep kolo. Mater kazga jaz nosam in take čevlje tudi. Take bi mu jaz prav take. In kolo tudi. Ki ga nosam jaz. Mi ga prodaš?
Ne, ko bi se ne.
A dej. Tu ni premehen, zid se zdigne gor, večji zid se da in to je to. Pa tudi motor se lahko gor da in potem je hitrejši. Ta bi bil glih zame, dej, koliko hoče za njega? Dej, no. Jaz zmeraj probam tako kupiti, kaj pa mi jaz rad neče prodati, ne? Neče. Ne vem.
Pa greš ti dol pogledati, ja ti dole?
Čudni časi so, adijo.
Adijo. Gremo pa ti dole, greš tam.
Kje je pa mucek? A, pa haja. more MK Ultra, okay. Ok. Jojo, kako si? Štihaš malo? Lepo. Lepo, lepo. Takole, ki tule, da imate vi tule tukaj, smo imeli mi v mestu tole. Tako škarpico, ki tule. Ja, no, tiste je bil s kamnov, ampak glih tako, ne, mislim, se spomnim. Glih tako nekako. Kje noga? Nič? Dobro je. Lepo se mej. Vidim, da imaš lepe škorničke, lepo jakenco. Adijo. almost hit me right now. Hey, this is the old car. Barely missed me. It was out there to hit me. And AT755, AT755 was another car that, as I was coming down from the bridge, would not stop. Instead, he had a car coming from the opposite side, was also willing to hit me if that would take place. But the car that was coming from behind me, and I was just as I am standing right now, I did not move. This is what we're going to video record now, quite far away from the road. This is not what regulations require from the driver. You don't do the stuff like this. He almost hit me. Before that, it was a brother from the guy I was just talking to coming up with a bicycle, was giving me a threatening look. The lady at Ragovo was coughing. The Journey was the name of the cat based on MK Ultra. But the guy who was coming from behind me, he went to my side literally before going straight toward Krka village, toward Graben. That's truly insane. You can hit anybody from behind like this. So we're gonna video record this incident. Right there somewhere is where I was walking, and there was a car from behind me that came. This was an old blue car, maybe even some kind of, I don't know really what it was. It looked like Hyundai Getz, except it was much bigger. The car was blue in the back, the hood was, the cover for the trunk was white. It looked like old, completely fucked up car. Might have been even Meriva, who the fuck knows. Based on MK Ultra scenario, it would have been something like this. Then what happened, and this stuff was preceded by a bicycle rider that went upstairs, up the hill, a brother from the guy I was just talking to, giving me a really threatening looks. Behind him, there was a car with a Austrian license plate AA. We come all the way here, where the Volkswagen blue one comes from, is making a left turn toward me, therefore, and he is unwilling to stop in front of me. I stopped instead exactly where I was. This is my right to be when it comes to the road. Nobody has the right. There's no pavement, there's no sidewalk here whatsoever. I have the right to be wherever the hell I am. Agree with me or do not agree with me, this is where I am. This is absolutely my right to be exactly where I am at. I did not violate the law. The guy, however, could have hit me because another guy, therefore, because he had a car, just like you see right now, coming from the other side. So one car after the other incident with one of the cars, I can say he was trying to hit me. I cannot say that he was trying to hit me, but it was the guy that was coming from that direction toward my direction, and he came from that side of the road to about something like this. So I was just about, he was away from me for about like this. That's what this was. So we have to take a note about that stuff. like the car that you see right now is coming, going completely on this side of the road and basically going up to somewhere here like this, approximately about, I estimate, a meter away, was not a meter away from me. He waved right completely next to me. So that's not normal. We're gonna measure also how wide the road is here. Yeah, this is where the incident took place. Took place right about at this location here. And so I am going to take this. This is 1 meter, 2 meter, 3 meter, 4 meter, at least 4 meter and a half, 4 meter and a half wide road. He didn't really have a necessity to do that. And what makes it interesting is he had it up there. He had it up there, just like the white car that you watch right there. Let's do this stuff again. 1, big steps. Anyway, 2, 3, 4. Really 4 meters and a half. Enough 4 meters and a half space. 4 meters minimum. Wide road here. He had no fucking reason. Let me demonstrate you what he just did. He had no reason to go from his side of the road like this, on the other side of the road, right next to me, basically like this, to hit me. There was no reason. There was really no reason to do that stuff. There is no reason to do that stuff to people from behind, basically, from behind. Yes, if you have a car like this coming from the opposite side, like the blue Golf afterwards did, he came from that direction to mine, your law obligates you to stop. If you don't have enough space to pass next to the pedestrian, the law requires you to stop right there like this in front of me. Not in front of me, but like that in front of me. You are to stop. The law requires you to do that. That guy didn't do that. He forced his way next to the car that was coming from the opposite side. So I was here, 2 cars afterwards passed, one next to another from opposite direction, and that worked. So no need for that kind of stuff. was right there going over 100 kilometers an hour. The same guy from the distance started to horn me. It can be heard on the audio recording. He is at the Palchik right there. He did go to the Palchik, and so we will go there. That's enough of it. He stopped right there. He did have a speed exceeding 100 kilometers an hour right now. Returning from the opposite direction. That's a bar right there where he stopped. We're gonna take that information right there. We're gonna go from there. We're gonna take care of that immediately right now. He did came again on my side of the road. I was completely on the side of the road that was completely on the side of the road that was I was on other side of the road, and this guy just couldn't, more than 100 kilometers an hour. It's a problem here because we do have an access out. There is a back road over there. So I'm going to take this one here. Guess I'm going to take this road here. This time, that's what I'm going to take. Hej! Živjo! Zdajte mi eno stvar povedati. Je tle kakšen norček še čez tukaj z avtomobilom, da je letel ali kaj takega? Nobenega ni bilo. Kaj pa kakšen star avto, tak Hyundai razkupen kaj takega? Ste videli kaj takega, ne? Je probal zbiti tam dvakrat. Ja, ni bilo nič v redu, to bomo našli. This is what I think the guy left right there. It's a road and there was a car that flew right through there. So that's what I expected would take place. Yeah. That's what I was expecting was going to take place. So. There you go. Yeah, I took this road because I knew that there is a road up there. I never go here. And because I have people over there in that other street, you know, so I know that that was the car that rushed through, ran through here, basically. Interesting that he avoided the intersection toward Ragusa, the main intersection. He turned toward Target. This guy even suggested there are cameras there. That kind of stuff. This is impossible to miss this car. It's very easily to identify this car. It's not difficult. We are right here, and there is actually nothing here to say. I did not observe anything. Shit. And then we have this kind of issue going on. What I think is this gonna solve like that. Oh, this one is gonna fucking remember me. Juršić bu najebao zarad tega. Tubohuda je. This crime was based on MK Ultra scenario. This was completely Novo Mesto police. Today I published the video where I actually encourage Illuminatis to place hands with me again. Slovenian police psychiatrist Peter Kapp always responded and encouraged this kind of videos. I'm not blaming him. I'm not blaming him. This was not his video. This was my video today that was published. They anticipated it's just going to be tra la 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 and this and that. It's the way, right? When you do the stuff like this, that you go with an excessive speed behind the guy with the idea to smash him with a car, and then you come from the opposite side, 100, 120 kilometers an hour on a road where you shouldn't drive more than 50. This is basically the way to encourage the society to engage in violence. And since this guy was involved in MK Ultra, that's a proven so that is a Novo Mesto police that is now encouraging people into direct hit basically. Did not finish what I started earlier. The psychiatrist Peter Kopp insisted, they did insist that if I will publish videos like the one I published today, that it will attract crazy people. No, it doesn't attract crazy people. This isn't about the crazy people. It's about animals from Novo Mesto police station, Ljubljana, animals from psychiatric hospital, Ljubljana Polje, animals from psychiatric hospital, Vojnik, animals from psychiatric hospital, Maribor. All of you responsible for this stuff, you have not witnessed. You witness stuff like this, you also engaged in crime and violence. You all held responsible for that stuff. You don't have any kind of a special authorizations that would allow you, authorize you to do the stuff like this. Man whom I have persecuted right now had a scenario, was involved in this as a Slovenian guy, insisted that he would even go through here, that I will never get him, that he will go through the road at the end of the Ragovska we are at right now again. That he will continue through whatever, but that I will not get him. This man was not from Novo Mesto city to me during anti-Alpha. It appeared to me, he was a good colleague of Robert Golob. It appeared to me this man was from, might have been from Celje or something like that, from other part of Slovenia. I don't know where. I don't know where this guy was from. I remember the guy, but I don't remember where he was from. Because he hallucinated something. He hallucinated about the track he would take through the Ragovska and stuff like that. He hallucinated about the cameras that are at the intersection where you turn, if you turn past this bar Palček toward the city, if you continue the road, the main road, he turned toward the Ragovo. This is Ragovo here. There is an intersection over there, and he claimed there are cameras over there. So he had a route already based on crime, which dates all the way to 2014. Psychiatrist Peter Kopp ran this crime, Novo Mesto police investigators ran this crime. They already investigated this crime. Oh, this is truly insane. Truly, truly insane. I did this stuff because it was beneficial for me. He even suggested that in the street where I was right now, where I went through, there was a lot of violence that went on there. Entire street was involved in a lot of violence. Actually, if I already come ever to the street, I'm dead and so on, that kind of stuff. He had a scenario. Everybody inside of this village, Ragovo, knows him in that street. The man who parked the tractor, the one you have seen, was doing the work, knows him very well. This man was very much involved in this. Everybody knows him in the street. Absolutely everybody knows him, including there is absolutely everybody knows this guy inside of the street. He was even explaining about that he will try to help me out by depicting himself rushing through the road, where I pointed out also goes through this village into the city, so that I would not even bother myself to come here. Well, the investigation doesn't work like this. My work now is almost done. The rest is going to be the locals who's going to explain who this guy was. This locals are extremely, extremely involved in it. This is, if you go walking, if you want to go through the forest and take a shortcut to the city, the only way you can get through to the city in Novo Mesto, from the village where I am. My job well done. And one more thing, this guy with a bicycle, he looked like the guy, the brother I was talking to right now, but this was not his brother. And it was just in the area of this guy. I truly assumed that this was he. And it was not. It was some other on a bicycle man with a car. I think it was an Austrian license plate that was behind me. Going uphill with a bicycle. I'm going to explain everything. There is a police car right there who passed right next to me. Right there, you can see it. Right there, you can see it, the time, date, everything. I was coming from a Palchik right from there. Right there, past, he went right there. So, all right. Guys have a balls, but this is gonna end bad. Not for me this time. I was a little bit too late to pull the camera out, and you were able to hear how he horned like a lunatic. I mean, a real lunatic. In Slovenia they say kibic, you know, kibitzer, kibitzer, the inciter, you know, somebody that plays fucking crazy like this to trigger the crime. This was anti-ultra crime. This was investigated anti-ultra crime. So, you know, very, very bad. The guy that you have heard with this tractor who was there, he had a Serbian music blasting through the tractor. Apparently that his father is Serbian, something like that. That's how he presented himself, I don't know. He was cleaning in front of me the stuff, the dirt from the road based on anti-ultra scenario, and it's also video recorded. So this isn't going to help in any way. Yeah, this is the way, yeah. Like that. Yeah, very good. Very good. You started to learn how to properly stop cars. Huh? It's the first time, but one time is always the first time. Yeah. You're not going to be able to do that. You made a fucking mistake again. So you don't want to make mistakes, man. Let's go. I didn't have an audio recorder on, and so I had to make sure that I do have this stuff. When it comes to the Skoda, this police car Skoda, that I have this assault today repaired and also on the internet. Audio recorder was on. This is a big fucking problem. That's why this telephone that I was using was so useful to me. The old telephone I have has a very bad recorder, and police knew because they tested one, and I can prove this. It's very easy to prove that they tested the telephone. They made a lot of mistakes. They made tremendously a lot of mistakes in their procedure, and this truly is a cat and mouse game. I mean, they truly did a lot of mistakes. They made a lot of fucking mistakes. They made a lot of mistakes along the way. So this is a sample video I am doing right now in order to repair the video with the police car. And the guys who came again over there from the bar, we're all fucking nervous now. You shouldn't have done that stuff. You shouldn't. People do the stuff they really shouldn't do. I don't know how much they paid one, but that was a stupid thing to do. It's absolutely impossible. It would be impossible to take a license plate from here. No matter what the fuck I would do, I would not get the license plate. No matter what the hell I would do, I wouldn't get it. Impossible. So this is just as I said, a repair sample, repair video we're going to be using. A bar bunch of people were involved in this stuff. This supposedly are new owners. So the thing about it is that the new owners already were involved in this way before they purchased this bar. This is where I took the information about the police car. And hopefully this is gonna resolve the problems in respect to the video. That I will be able to retrieve the video about the police Skoda that appeared right in front of me. As I was heading right there, and I was heading toward home, it was right in front of me. Skoda, police car, Skoda Felicia that appeared. One of these cars is going to go up now, and that's going to be it. I was coming from the direction that you see that car right there, half turned, and the police car was just like this car right there. It simply appeared right there in front of me and proceeded to go in this direction here. So this one is going way faster, but alright, so it's not gonna take much time, much longer. The police car was recorded as the car was going under the bridge, continue under the bridge, and then it went uphill, make a turn, and proceeded who knows where, right across the bridge. So this will do the job for me. I don't know, but I feel the people are really on their toes. There is some electricity in the air. The way they do this stuff during MK Ultra, they also tell you that they're going to be on the toes because of the fruits and stuff like that. So they wanted anxiety, that kind of stuff. Method Yerman, a neighbor, the so-called neighbor, was involved in it. So this is where you had a police car coming past me right after I finished investigation inside of the village. I thought Yerman was the one running this. Unfortunately for the police car, a badass camera was turned on. I found a new software which is deadly when it comes to a nighttime recording, and we'll use this one now. I turned the telephone on, the light, so that I am very, very visible. Unlike other people do, I always make sure that safety is first. So the police car was involved in MK Ultra. Everything was based completely on MK Ultra. So this is a good video because it goes to help. It goes to demonstrate what the day looks like, what this is like, MK Ultra, what exactly that means. So je beluškica. Lijepa. Normalno, normalno. Normal, normal. I did not video record this stuff when I was in a hurry toward the city. It's time to record because there also was a jacket thrown over there on the road. So I did not expect this. I did not, this kind of lunacy from a neighbor, Metod Yerman. I did not expect that. I didn't know that they're so sick. I had no clue. Let's go, we'll see if that stuff is still there. Just a little further. Let's see if we can still get a glimpse of that. I was in a hurry to the postal office and had no time therefore to record this kind of stuff. this green jacket that was also here. It was thrown, it was ran over by the cars all over. Let's see if the thing is still somewhere, somebody threw it away, or it's right there. Look at that, it's still waiting for me. So I never seen anything like that, not a shoes, not a jacket here on the road. So we're using this kind of stuff. I do have a jacket very similar to this one. It was Method Yerman who was asking about, this is my jacket, right? This is your jacket, right? The same technology, the same system as the one I have inside taking place with the TomTom. I don't know, these people really so fucking stupid. I remember when I was talking about the part during MK Ultra, they would leave on the side the part and they would demand from me to identify if it's something Robert Golob claimed since '94 he's gonna steal from me. That's gonna be extremely valuable to me in white color. And then even if it's not gonna be a white color piece of plastic, that he will find something else. I'm going to post the link right below so that you can see that stuff. So it does look, really does look sort of similar to my jacket. I will demonstrate that jacket. Ooh, I feel sorry for Method Yerman, for the neighbor, the so-called higher police investigator employed by Milan Kuchin a little bit. Oh, for this stuff, Method stated to me that if I will not get this, I will never even get him. So this is a way, this is actually even a recognition. He agrees he did this crime, and now he is covering the crime, the original crime, with stuff that you see right there. When on my way from a postal office to Novo mesto, I realized that I don't give a three fuck about audio recordings that I obtained by identifying people. They are of no use to me really, because in this whole thing, identification of the people, the so-called identification of the people which police, British royals demanded from me, was related to the cover-up, to their own alibi for the crime. Basically, they tried to suggest that they were out there to help me out. So they wanted to hide the genocide and push forward on the surface. You will identify and so on, that kind of stuff. So the most priceless stuff to me is Home for Elderly People. They sent me the letter, I'm sure, to appear at the court in Novo mesto police station. Dealing with the criminals in the uniforms is really of a value to me, because this is about genocide. This is not a game, as British royals, CIA, FBI, Slovenian police, Kuchan, everyone involved, the top from the top, they did not allow people to stop this. There were people who were interested to stop this, but they did not allow them to come anywhere close. Now, these people also didn't bother to come anywhere close, because this is your job, this is your duty to report. If to nobody else available than to the person that this stuff is being done to. So he's not institutionalized, thrown into the psychiatric hospital when he states this. This is why you do that stuff. I stated and about MK Ultra, and they threw me into the psychiatric hospital twice. Once in 2012 and another time in 2014, 2015. That's why it's your job to report this to the person to confirm that he's not crazy, and you all fail to do this. The most precious to me is home for elderly people in Novo Mesto police station. Basically the stuff for which they told me they're going to take away from me through the court. You will never get this from me. It's mine. It's always going to be internet. On the internet, it's going to be on the internet for as long as I will live. Once I'm dead, then I don't really give a fuck what you do with it. The telephone did not work, the light did not work to me right now. I don't know what happened. I actually even waved the car with the telephone because I was sure the telephone is working, and keep the car in the telephone in the back next to the backpack. And the thing about it is that telephone light, flashlight did not operate it. I had a car coming from up front and I had a car coming from the rear, so that was interesting. I have no idea what that was about. Yeah, it was, the light was turned on in the back and it disconnected itself somehow, I don't know. This one was not interested in adjusting the speed properly. Just cut through the curve here, the cross, you know. All good. I'm just maybe 50 meters from home. I don't know. It could be that this was a car alarm. I really do not know. Is it the police that is doing this shit? That they keep playing with it across the Krka River also? Or what the fuck is going on here? But it did sound to me like this was a Krka pharmaceutical. And it might have been a police based on anti-ultra scenario. They had me inside of the car way before Bozichnik became a police officer. Is what a Bozichnik, the criminal who gave me a right turn ticket on a semaphore light, will cough about. He's going to cough out of his chest about. So this was more than 40 kilometers an hour. This was way more than 40 kilometers an hour. But nothing like what I have seen earlier. Here's the thing. We were at the Krka Pharmaceutical, and it was year 2012. I know that he was not even a police officer yet. I know that. And it was a Teves who was training one. They started to train one to be police officer, like I stated. He would even wear a police uniform. This is how they would do it here. And it was nowhere near to become a police officer. Since sometimes 2009, he would even wear the police uniform and sit inside of the police cars and stuff like this. And to him, it appears that it was all he ever needed. Oh, he will tell all this stuff. He will explain all about what he was up to. This is a hardcore criminal, young, small, but rotten, just like me and Pusha. On Wednesday, April 16, 2025, it's right now 40 hours, approximately 37 hours.